Okay, let's get into your reading, Libra. Okay, you've been dealing with someone who literally had no shame. This person tried to throw you under the bus. They tried to pull the rug out from under your feet. This person tried to jeopardize your life. They tried to ruin your reputation. They tried to really make you seem like you're the bad person. They tried to make up stories, lies, deception. There's a sense here of really hurting you, creating a lot of pain. 1 second being really nice to you, the next second not being nice to you at all. This person really tried to create a lot of agony, pain, and frustration towards you. And I want you to know right from the very start of this reading, loves, that what's coming for them is not quiet, and it is not small. The title of this reading is exact. The exposure is public, not private, not whispered behind closed doors somewhere you'll never see it. It happens where people can actually witness it happening. There's a sense here of you feeling traumatized, feeling under the weather, feeling really sad, feeling really distraught and hurt based on how this person treated you, feeling really overwhelmed and very, very frustrated, not knowing why they would do this towards you, and just feeling really aggravated and really, really sad because you never expected this person to treat you the way that they did, and they have. And I want to honor that for a moment before we move any further, loves. The specific kind of confusion that comes from being hurt by someone who once showed you warmth is different from ordinary hurt. It makes you question your own read on people, your own judgment, your own sense of what's real. And I want you to know that confusion was never a flaw in you. It was a completely reasonable response to someone who deliberately showed you two different faces, because that's the part that makes this so disorienting, loves. It wasn't consistent cruelty you could brace against. It was warmth one moment and coldness the next. Kindness followed by a knife in the back. And that unpredictability is its own form of harm. Your nervous system was never given a stable pattern to adjust to. It was kept guessing, kept off balance, and that is exhausting in a way that people who haven't lived it rarely understand. That exhaustion is real, loves, and it deserves real rest now. Not just emotional rest, but physical rest too. The kind of deep, unclenched sleep that only comes once your body finally believes the threat has actually passed. The exposure that's coming isn't quiet, loves. This isn't a private little reckoning that only you get to see. This is public. This is the kind of exposure where the mask they've been wearing this whole time finally slips in front of people who matter to them, people whose opinion they actually care about. And once it slips, it does not go back on. The Three of Swords. And this card also goes to show here that this person treated you really, really terribly. The main thing I will say here is that remember, there is such a thing as karma. I feel like it will come out on the cards. It already has, to be honest, because you know what number represents karma. Number 3. So we had the Three of Swords, and this is the synchronicity from the universe. This is a synchronicity from above, from the divine, and for that we really have to thank. And I want you to sit with what the Three of Swords actually shows, loves. A heart pierced by 3 blades at once, not one wound but a triad of them. Grief, betrayal, and heartbreak arriving together. That is exactly what this person put you through. Not a single moment of hurt, but a compounding one, layered, repeated, and the storm clouds behind the card matter here too, loves. This pain did not come from nowhere. It came from a real gathering pattern of behavior, one you likely saw building before it fully broke. Your intuition noticed something was wrong long before the worst of it happened. And that intuition, the one that whispered something is off here, was right the entire time. Hold on to that, loves. Not to relive the hurt, but to remind yourself that your own perception was never broken. You read the situation correctly. You just didn't yet have all the proof you needed to fully trust what you already sensed. because I always believe that these readings are not just me talking. These cards are a form of divination, and I practice this every single day. I upload every single day. I do personal services every single day and have been doing this for years now. But behind the scenes, I've been doing it even longer. And one thing I will tell you is that when you are so in tune with tarot and divination, when you maintain spiritual practices every single day just to have the energy to show up like this, it is amazing the synchronicities that come up, the synchronicities I get to share with you, because we've got here the number 3 as well. Number 3 is karma. This person that tried to ruin your reputation will face so much karma that you would be shocked if you saw it. And right now you're not seeing it. You might see this person living a great life and all this great stuff. But let me tell you something, internally, they suffer. And I want you to understand why that inner suffering matters so much, loves. A person who does what this person did to you is not operating from a place of peace. They are operating from insecurity, from fear, from something broken in them that they have never actually addressed. Hurting you didn't fix that. It never does. Which means the thing driving them to hurt you is still fully intact inside them right now, quietly making their own life harder in ways you'll never even have to witness. And that's the real tragedy in all of this, loves. You get to walk away from this whole situation completely, eventually free of it entirely. They don't get to walk away from themselves. Wherever they go next, whatever new relationship or friendship or opportunity comes their way, they carry that same unresolved thing with them, and it will surface again, the way it always does, until they finally choose to face it. And yes, you might be thinking to yourself, but Moonveil, I'm also suffering. If not, I'm suffering more. Your life is only going to get better. You have no idea how good life is going to get for you. You can't see it right now. You're not living in that reality right now. But when you do, you will be shocked at how the tables have turned. The tables are going to turn so brutally on this person, but so fabulously on you that you will be shocked. And I want to be honest with you about why the suffering feels lopsided right now, loves. Your pain is visible to you because you're the one living inside it. Their suffering is invisible to you right now because it's happening in rooms you're not in conversations you're not part of, in the quiet moments where their own conscience or their own consequences catch up with them. Invisible does not mean absent. It simply means you haven't been shown it yet. And when it does, I think you'll remember this reading. I think you'll remember me. I think you'll remember certain words from this reading, and you'll be like, oh my God, I remember that. And I remember she said the tables will turn. And I want you to claim this energy. Claim it. Because energy is energy. This is what I'm seeing for you. Invite it in the sense that your life only gets better, beautifully, gracefully, and what the universe has for the other person. We don't wish ill upon others, but the universe gives accordingly to what people do. That person will get the karma that they need, the karma that they have basically invited into their own life. And I want to be clear about the difference here, loves, between wishing someone harm and simply trusting balance. Wishing harm keeps you tied to them, keeps your energy fixated on their downfall. Trusting balance releases you completely. You're not asking for their suffering. You're simply acknowledging that consequences exist and letting the universe handle the details you were never meant to carry. Claim this energy by commenting down below, "The tables have turned." Like this video and make sure you are subscribed to take on board this goodness of energy that I'm going to give to you in this reading, because I am telling you it's only a matter of time that the tables turn and you are living your best life and this person is suffering for the things that they did to you. I know it's hard to be patient when you're the one still living inside the aftermath, loves, but every single card in this reading confirmed the same direction. Nothing in this spread pointed backward. Nothing suggested more struggle without an end in sight. Every card pointed forward, toward you rising and them finally facing what they've earned. Make sure you are subscribed, because remember, in order to be able to receive, we must be willing to give. So make sure you're subscribed. Give a like and comment down below. The tables have turned. I'm telling you, the number 3 is karma. You're going to get your good karma. They will get the bad karma that they themselves have invited into their life. And giving here doesn't have to be complicated, loves. A genuine comment, a real moment of engagement, a small act of kindness towards someone else entirely unrelated to this situation, all of it feeds the same current. The universe doesn't need grand gestures, it just needs sincerity. The 6 of Pentacles, and you really can't make this up. Justice is going to get served. Again, the scales represent karma, equality, harmony, equilibrium, balance, basically justice and karma. The 6 of Pentacles, they will get what they deserve. You will get what you deserve. And I think that's the main thing. And I want to point out something about this card specifically, loves. The 6 of Pentacles shows a figure holding scales in one hand while giving with the other, measuring out exactly what's fair, no more, no less. That precision matters here. This isn't vague, undefined karma floating out in the universe somewhere. This is measured, weighed, and delivered exactly proportional to what was done. And precision like that means you don't need to worry about it being unfair in either direction, loves. You won't be shortchanged, and they won't get away with less than what's owed. The scales don't round in anyone's favor. They simply balance, and it works both directions, loves. The good you've built, the way you've carried yourself through all of this without becoming the villain of your own story, that gets weighed too, and it gets returned to you, measured just as precisely, just as fairly. Think about every moment you chose grace over cruelty, loves. Every time you could have retaliated and didn't. Every time you kept your own integrity intact, even while someone else was actively trying to destroy it. None of that went unnoticed by the universe. All of it is sitting on your side of the scale, and it is heavy, and it is coming back to you. Now, in the process of how much they've traumatized you, do not forget to make sure that you take responsibility for yourself, your self-love, your healing. This is really important because you don't want to, as a hurt person, then unknowingly hurt others or hurt yourself more. What happens, unfortunately, is when people get traumatized, they then become very bitter. And some people become better because they work on themselves. But some people become bitter, and that then makes them angry, and then they have resentment. They treat other people badly. I will just say this as a message coming through. It's really, really important. Just work on yourself. Don't let what they've done to you become the reason that you then become bitter and overwhelmed and frustrated, because that's not going to help you. I've watched this happen so many times, loves. Good people who went through something genuinely awful, and instead of letting it teach them something, they let it turn them into someone harder, someone more guarded, someone who starts treating the next kind person who comes along like a potential threat just because of what one person did. Don't let that happen to you. The people who come into your life after this deserve to meet the real you, not a version hardened by someone else's cruelty that's just going to invite energies that you don't want to invite in. Instead, work on yourself. Understand that the way that they treated you is their problem. It's not because you did something wrong. It's their problem. They had no other person to project it onto, so they projected it onto you. You don't need to take it too personally, but just make sure you work through that and understand, you know what, that's their problem. This is how I am. I'm still a good person. I'm going to work on being the best version of myself. I'm not going to let that make me a bitter person. And I want to speak to this a little more, loves, because healing after something like this isn't a straight line. Some days you'll feel completely at peace, and other days the anger will resurface out of nowhere. triggered by something small, a name, a place, a song. That's normal. That doesn't mean you're failing at healing. It means you're human. And healing was never supposed to be a clean, tidy process anyway. Give yourself permission for the messy days, loves. Just don't let the messy days become the whole story. One hard afternoon doesn't undo the progress you've made. It's just a wave passing through, and waves pass. And on those harder days, loves, be extra gentle with yourself. Eat the meal, take the walk, call the friend who actually listens. Small acts of self-care on hard days add up to something much bigger over time than they seem to in any single moment. It's just a message coming through. Because the more you become better and not bitter for how they've treated you, the more you excel, the more you succeed, the more your life only progresses to get better and stronger and more fulfilling and more exciting, and just filled with so much success and so much joy and so much excitement and so much happiness. It literally just takes you to that level of fulfillment, feeling extremely excited and satisfied. And I want to be specific about what that fulfillment actually looks like, loves, because it's not abstract. It's waking up without that heavy feeling in your chest. It's laughing again, fully, without a part of you still stuck replaying what happened. It's meeting new people without immediately bracing for them to hurt you too. That lightness is coming. It is already on its way. And you are going to live a life, I'm telling you, of wealth and success. You will go through a real sense here of just becoming happier, becoming more confident, becoming more positive. And also at the same time, you are going to become wealthier in terms of finances. So finances are going to grow here. And I want to be clear about the order of this, loves, because it matters. The confidence comes first and the wealth follows it, not the other way around. You don't need to wait until your bank account looks a certain way to start feeling worthy of good things. The feeling of worthiness is what actually opens the door for everything else to walk through. One thing you will see in the future, though, is that this person is not in a financially good situation. Whether you come across it or not, you will somehow be told about it, or you may come across it online, or hear that this person has gone through a major financial difficulty, whereas you will be in a very good financial situation from what I'm seeing here. So I just want you to know that yes, they're going to be suffering a lot. They're going to be dealing with a lot of issues and challenges and problems. And I want to name why this specific kind of struggle tends to follow people like this, loves. Instability in how someone treats others rarely stays contained to just relationships. It leaks into everything, into work, into finances, into the way opportunities either show up or quietly stop showing up for them. People can sense integrity even when they can't quite name what they're sensing. And when integrity is missing, doors tend to close a little quieter, a little more often than people like this ever expect. Word travels, loves, even when nobody says a single thing directly. A reputation built on deception has a way of preceding someone into rooms they haven't even entered yet. Your life only gets better, and I think it's good for you to focus on your life. I think that's the main thing. You don't want to consume yourself constantly with what this person is doing, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, why they're living life so well. You are then comparing yourself to this person. And that's not helping you. It's actually harming you, and it's not making you any better. It's just going to make you bitter. I know it's tempting to check loves, to look them up every so often just to see what they're doing. I understand that impulse completely, but every time you do that, you're pulling yourself back into their orbit instead of building your own. And the whole point of everything we've talked about today is getting you fully out of their gravity and into your own. So it's really important not to compare yourself, your life, your lifestyle, to not just this person, but anyone. Because trust me, wherever you see something really too good to be true, Trust me, there is a price that has been paid. This is very, very important to understand, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, a price has probably been paid. So don't compare yourself. It's not going to help you. In fact, it's just going to make you feel worse, and there's no point doing that. Social media is the worst place for this comparison, loves, because you're only ever seeing the curated, highlight reel version of someone's life. You don't see the argument before the photo, the debt behind the vacation, the loneliness underneath the smile. Comparing your whole complicated real life to someone's carefully chosen 10 seconds of footage was never a fair fight to begin with, and it never will be. The Emperor. And this card goes to show, stay in your lane, stay in your power, stay in your confidence. Understand that the universe is on your side and will give you the good karma that you deserve, that you desire, and that you absolutely want. You will get what you want, you will get. And the Emperor is exactly the right card to close this part of the reading, loves. Because he doesn't beg for respect, he doesn't chase validation. He sits on a solid throne, built on stone, unmoved by whatever storm is happening beneath him. That is the energy you are being asked to embody now. Not aggressive, not defensive, just solid, just immovable. A person standing so firmly in their own worth that outside noise simply stops registering as a threat. Tables have turned. They have. We want to live in that kind of energy. You know what? The tables have already turned. Why am I so bothered about that person? I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to uplift myself already. Make it as though the tables have turned. Already put yourself in a place of power. This is very, very important to do because it's basically detachment. And detachment is not the same as pretending you don't care, loves. You can care deeply about what happened. You can hold real feelings about it and still choose not to let it run your daily life. Detachment is simply deciding that your peace matters more than their behavior does. It's a decision you get to make regardless of what they ever do or don't do next. When you don't care so much about what others are doing and you care more about yourself, others will start to care about you. There's a kind of law of orbit that sort of takes place, and it's actually a real thing, loves. The law of orbit, where basically when you stop orbiting around something, those things start to orbit around you. And think about how planets actually behave for a second, loves. The sun doesn't chase the planets around it. It simply stays exactly where it is, burning steadily, and everything else naturally arranges itself around that steadiness. That is what you are being asked to become right now. Not something that chases, something that simply burns steadily enough that things start arranging themselves around you instead. And it's really interesting that this happens because this card sums it up very strongly. Let's say, for example, this person is the one who disrespected you and did all of those things, and you were trying to talk to them, and they just weren't interested. They literally didn't care. But imagine you become like that person instead, loves. You're focusing on yourself. You're focusing on your own energy. All of a sudden, this person starts to wonder about your life. They wonder what you're doing. Because spiritual energies are so powerful. When you stop thinking about a specific thing and you start focusing on something else, that's when those people suddenly want to know what you're doing. They might reach out. They might talk to you. It's the same energy behind why the phone stays quiet exactly when you're waiting for it, but rings the moment you finally stop checking it. The same energy behind losing something and finding it the instant you give up looking, never in the exact moment you're desperately searching. Because it is this energy. And I'm telling you, the more you focus on yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you take care of yourself, the more you do you, everything will start to orbit around you. Everything will start to come towards you. Justice will get served so much faster, so much stronger, because when you are being better for yourself and not bitter, everything changes. And I want you to picture your own life 6 months from now, loves, fully absorbed in your own growth, your own joy, your own momentum. This person, wherever they are, whatever mess they're standing in by then, will feel the absence of your attention like a room that suddenly went quiet. And that quiet will be louder than anything you could have said to them directly. And I want to say one more thing before we close, loves, because I know some of you are sitting with real anger right now, and that anger is valid. What happened to you was not okay. Someone tried to take your name and twist it into something ugly. Someone tried to make you carry the shame that should have stayed with them the entire time. Anger in this specific situation, loves, is not something to be ashamed of feeling. Anger is often just love or self-respect wearing a fiercer face. It shows up when a real boundary was crossed, and yours absolutely was. Don't rush yourself past the anger just because someone told you good people don't feel it. Good people feel it plenty. They just don't let it become the thing that runs their whole life afterward. But I want you to notice something about the timing of this reading, because it did not find you by accident. It found you right as the exposure is beginning, right as the mask is already starting to slip. The Three of Swords confirmed the depth of what they did. The Six of Pentacles confirmed the scales are already balancing, and the Emperor confirmed your power is already secured, already stable, already yours. And I want to speak directly to the part of you that has been quietly waiting for someone else to see the truth, loves. Waiting for the friend who still believes them to finally notice. Waiting for the family member who took their side to finally ask questions. That waiting has not been wasted. It has simply been the space between the lie being told and the lie finally running out of places left to hide. Lies are expensive to maintain, loves. They require constant upkeep, constant new details to keep the story consistent, constant energy to keep track of who was told what version. Eventually, the person telling it gets tired or careless or simply runs out of new lies to layer on top of the old ones. And that is exactly when the whole structure gives way. And I want you to picture something for a second, loves. A room full of people who used to believe this person's version of events. And slowly, one by one, that version stops holding up. Someone asks a question the person can't answer cleanly. Someone remembers a detail that doesn't match, and the room shifts. That shift is not small. Once a room stops believing someone, it very rarely goes back to believing them fully again. Trust, once it cracks, loves, doesn't heal the way skin does. It heals the way glass does, with the cracks still visible even after it's been pieced back together. People can forgive. People can even continue relationships after finding out the truth. But the blind trust, the assumption that this person would never lie, that particular kind of trust is gone permanently, and it does not come back the same way twice. And here's the part that matters most for you specifically, loves. Once that blind trust cracks in the people around them, their story about you starts to crack too, because their whole narrative depended on being believed completely. The moment doubt enters anywhere in that story, it spreads to every part of it, including the parts about you. That is exactly how this kind of exposure actually works, loves. It rarely comes crashing down all at once, dramatically, in a single moment. It starts as one small crack, one inconsistency someone notices. And then, quietly, the whole thing unravels from that single loose thread. And you get to watch that unravel from a place of complete peace, loves. Because you were never the one holding the story together in the first place. They were, and they're the ones who will feel every single thread come loose. And you don't have to do anything to make that happen, loves. You don't have to defend yourself loudly. You don't have to correct every lie in real time. The Six of Pentacles is already handling the weighing. The exposure does not need your help to happen. It needs your patience while it unfolds. And I know patience is hard here, loves, especially when you can see the lie sitting there and every part of you wants to correct it immediately. But there's real wisdom in restraint here. When you rush to defend yourself, it can look to outside eyes who don't know the full story, like you're the one being defensive, like you're the one with something to hide. Let the truth surface on its own timeline. Truth that arrives without you forcing it is always more convincing than truth you had to fight to prove. Channeling this final piece for you now, loves. The message is simple, and I want you to really hold on to it. Stay in your lane, stay in your power, and let the exposure do what exposure always does. It reveals. Slowly, publicly, undeniably. And I want to leave you with something practical before the final message, loves. The first thing, resist the urge to check on them constantly. Every time you look at their life to see if karma has arrived yet, you're quietly handing your energy right back to them. Let the checking go. The second thing, when people finally do come to you with questions, with apologies, with the truth they finally see, you get to decide how much access they still get to you. Their awakening doesn't automatically earn them a place back in your life. It simply earns them the truth being known. What you do with that afterward is entirely your choice. You are allowed to accept an apology and still keep your distance, loves. Those two things are not contradictory. Forgiveness is something you do for your own peace. Proximity is something you only grant to people who've actually earned it back, slowly, through real change, not just through words. And the third thing, keep building your own life so fully that by the time this all surfaces publicly, you're not standing there waiting for it. You're already somewhere else entirely, living a life so good that their exposure barely even registers as news to you anymore. That is genuinely the best possible outcome here, loves. Not you celebrating their downfall from the front row. You somewhere else completely, living so fully that someone has to actually tell you the news because you were too busy enjoying your own life to notice it happened. The truth is already surfacing, loves. You do not need to force it. You only need to keep living well while it arrives. The Three of Swords showed the depth of the wound. The Six of Pentacles showed the scales already moving. The Emperor showed your power already secure. And the number 3, appearing again and again through this whole reading, showed the karma already written into motion. Stay steady, stay solid. The exposure is not something you have to build. It is something you simply have to outlast, and you already have everything you need to do that. So let me bring this all home for you, loves. The Three of Swords confirmed exactly how much this person hurt you. The depth of the deception, the betrayal, the pain, the storm clouds gathering long before the worst of it broke. The Six of Pentacles confirmed the scales are already tipping, measuring precisely, returning exactly what's owed in both directions. And the Emperor confirmed your own power, your own stability, your own confidence, already secure and already yours to stand in, steady as a throne built on stone. Number 3 confirmed the karma, the synchronicity, the divine timing of all of this landing exactly when it needed to. And the law of orbit confirmed that the less you chase this person's downfall, the faster and more completely it arrives on its own. The trust that cracked in the people around them, the room that stopped believing their version of events, the financial and personal instability quietly following them wherever they go. Every single thread points toward the same outcome. This is not going to stay hidden. This is already coming apart in front of the people whose opinion mattered most to them. One message: stay in your lane, stay in your power, and let the exposure do the rest. Claim this, loves. Drop a comment and say the tables have turned, because every word of that is true. And I want to remind you one more time before you go, loves. The person who hurt you does not get the last word here. You do. Your peace, your growth, your rising life, all of it writes the actual ending to this story, not their lies, not their smear campaign, not one single thing they said about you that wasn't true. Save this. Come back and tell me when it happens. If this resonated, please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment and tell me what hit hardest. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.